Hello. Am I in?
Hi, Felix.
Hello.
You're in. How
Yay.
are you doing?
I'm doing so good. What time is it right now? Are you in New York?
Uh, no, I'm in Berlin.
Oh my God, that's what time is it in Berlin?
It is about 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Oh my gosh. What did you have as your coffee beverage this morning?
I went to a friend's place who owns a coffee shop and I bought a nitro coffee.
Ooh,
So they
nice.
were doing an Ethiopian on nitro coffee, which is very, very good.
That sounds so good. What did
Um,
everyone have? I want to know, the audience, what did you have this morning for
yes,
coffee?
if you have had coffee already, well done to you. Let us know what you're having. So where are you based actually? Because this is
Mm.
one thing I didn't find out.
Oh, I'm based in Seattle.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So right now it's 10 a.m. Yeah. It's not too early, but not too late.
Yeah, nice. It's the perfect
Yeah.
time. And like,
Yeah, it is pretty good.
do you guys like, so for us here in Berlin, like when we have May Day, it's a national holiday. So everyone is usually we have big street parties
Mm.
is what we do. But
Um,
today we're not having them.
yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good
it's very
that
good. It's very, very good.
yeah. It's so bright in Berlin right now, and it's 7 p.m. I love that.
It gets dark around 9.
Oh, that's so great. Um, yeah, go ahead and ask a question. Someone wants
Yeah,
to ask
okay.
a
So a little
question.
bit, I wanted to ask, like, so you got into coffee. How did you
Hmm.
start in coffee?
Okay, so
So
fun
actually,
fact. What's up?
how about we start with a little bit of an intro for you?
Mm. Hi, I'm Felix.
Um, yeah, okay. How about you introduce yourself? Because the reason we asked you to come on this IG Live with us,
Hmm.
I had like a little sign, but it's fallen down, so unfortunately it's not working right now. So the reason we asked you to be on the IG Live is because you tagged us in a image that you drew,
Yeah,
which included an Acaia scale, and this is the reason we asked you because you drew this really beautiful image.
thank you.
Yes, of course. It was a very attractive image, so we want to ask you, like, kind of introduce yourself. What would you think of yourself in the community of coffee?
Yeah, for sure. So I joined coffee actually only like 2.5, 3 years ago. So I'm pretty like new to coffee in comparison to people who have been it for like a decade. And like that's half my age. That's literally impossible for me. Um, but I just joined coffee and I about like 3 years ago, and I think everyone goes through this. They're like, what do I want to do in coffee? And you go through the same. I feel like everyone goes through the same path where they discover specialty coffee and then they're enamored by it, and then they're like, I want to become a roaster, or like I want to go to Origin, and like everyone thinks about that. And then as you like settle into the industry, you realize you can do like other things in the industry. So for me personally, I think that I thrive in a creative aspect of
Hmm.
the coffee industry. And I really, really value that. So that's something I'm going to roll with until I don't want to roll with, or that's something I will move forward with.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No, it's
until I
perfect.
don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think that like people like need to find their niche, or they need to find like what suits them best. And not everyone is a roaster, or not everyone like is meant to go to Origin. Like
Not everyone's a
sometimes you're,
manager.
yeah, also that too. No one is made to be a manager.
Yeah,
Like
no.
that is, yeah, that's a lot.
So I'm just gonna point out to people who might be watching the live now, if you have a question for us, please go to the question box where the little question sign is underneath. You can give us your questions there. But I already have questions for you. by
Oh,
the way.
amazing.
Don't worry, they're not
You're like, I have a
intimidating.
list right here.
This is my list.
It like rolls.
No, how like so whenever you talk to anyone who's in industry, you
Yeah.
want to ask them like how did they get into that industry? So
Yeah.
how did you like you're obviously an illustrator. Did you
Yeah.
is that like a hobby of yours? Is it something you
Yeah.
studied?
So what happened was I worked at this like really, really horrible cafe. And
Okay. No naming
we were
names.
yeah, we're not gonna name names. But if anyone follows like Coffee at Large, then they know the cafe. But anyway, we have an iPad there that we use for like work stuff. And I asked my manager if I could take it home to continue doing work stuff because I was really excited about this project. And I invited someone over and we left my iPad on the sofa and we climbed onto my balcony. And when my friend went back in, I think they threw their phone onto the sofa, but it hit the iPad and then it hit the sofa. And I like saw it and panicked. And instead of fixing the screen, I bought a new iPad. And then I realized after I could just fix the screen. So I fixed the screen and kept the iPad. And
Okay.
so, yeah. And so from there, I'm like, oh, I can like draw now. There's a really affordable app called Procreate, and it's only $10. So I've been drawing like everything on this like amazing app. And that's how I got
Uh,
started.
And do you use a stylus for it?
Yeah. So
Okay, nice.
so you can get an iPad, and iPads are compatible with Apple Pens. So they have their own thing like going on. So you can buy like an Apple Pen and it just looks like a white pen. And there's
Nice.
like a replaceable nib because these break all the time.
I think commenter Rachel Hupke, I don't know if you
Hi,
say it.
Rachel. She's my co-founder of Coffee at Large.
Nice. Actually, I was gonna ask you if you wanted to a little bit a bit more about Coffee at Large, because
Yeah.
actually
Uh,
before I asked, like to be honest, when we asked you about expanding it a little bit, when we asked you to come on as a person for the IG Live, we at first we wanted to ask you about like you being an illustrator within coffee,
yeah.
so being a creative coffee person. Um, but I would love for you to explain about what Coffee at Large is.
Yeah. Does anyone in the comments know what Coffee at Large is besides Rachel? So Coffee at Large is a nonprofit organization, and we're a nonprofit thanks to Rachel. Like, thank you for doing that paperwork and all that. Um, and we're essentially advocating for folks in the coffee industry, specifically like workers and baristas. Um, we've realized that there's a big need for baristas because they're mistreated a lot of the time. They don't know their rights, or they're like, yeah, they're not treated well and they like don't know what to do. So we wanted to provide resources for them.
Mm.
Hi, Jen.
You
I'm in love with Zoe.
know Jen well then.
I know Jen's dog well because she posts or they post a lot of like pictures of Zoe, and I'm like
Yes.
on Twitter, like eagerly stalking and like waiting for pictures of Zoe.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So what's like, oh, wait a second. I'm actually just commenting to Jen at the moment. Um, like so for Coffee at Large, it's mainly it's would you call it like a I don't know, like a union?
we love unions, and like in the future, I would love to see a barista union.
Yeah,
Like like it like I would I sorry, I just stuttered 10 times.
not at all.
Um
You're talking to me,
I
you're fine.
I think because like we're just three of us, we can't be a union. Like we're all employed at different places, but the idea is like a national, like US or like the states, as a barista union. That'd be really cool. And I feel like
Yeah,
that would take a lot
exactly.
of work, but that's like work that we want to put in.
Well, to be honest, like as I'm saying this separately from Acaia, like I've seen you guys, your guys' influence on social media, and it
Yeah.
seems like a grassroots movement, and you're doing
Yeah.
very well. You've got a lot of
Thanks.
influence already, over like from an outside perspective as a European coffee person,
Hmm.
you guys already have a lot of influence over the US
Yeah.
barista market.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
for
don't say
sure.
market in a negative way. I say market as like as in like community.
Yeah, yeah,
I
for
think it's
sure.
good.
Yeah, thank you.
And oops, sorry. Back to the main topic. Blech. Uh, it's been a long May day.
You're
Um,
doing great. It's 7 p.m. and you're doing the IG live. That's amazing.
no, it's good. It's like it's been like a long May day already.
Yeah.
We've been awake. Um, but for you, how did you get into illustrate? Like you obviously told me how you got into illustration, but how did you get into
Yeah.
coffee?
How did I get into coffee? So,
Yeah.
fun fact. I was in a pyramid scheme for a year. I was
What
so
sort of
young.
pyramid scheme?
I was in Amway. And if
Okay.
anyone disagrees, let me know in the comments.
I
But
will let you
I
know. I
was
actually don't know what Amway is. Sorry, I'm
That's
actually
good.
holding up
Good
my
for
phone as I go.
you. Stay safe. It's just like their whole thing is selling products. Yeah, it's a pyramid scheme. Yeah. Um, and they sell products, and the whole idea of like this pyramid scheme is like you get a lot of a little. So you bring people into your business and sell products to them, and they sell products to like their family. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
I
like,
understand what a pyramid scheme is, but like, what do you mean that you got
oh,
involved
oh,
in
I
this
got involved.
pyramid
I was just
scheme?
stupid. I was being
No,
dumb.
no,
Like
no, no, no.
I was like 19 and naive, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And it was like this young white couple, and I was working at like a yogurt kiosk, and I thought they wanted to be friends, and so I thought we were hanging out, and I'm like, IHOP is a really weird place to hang out, but this is fine. And I got too
Okay.
deep in, and I didn't know how to get out. But anyway, so they
Can I just
were
say this, Sarah? It kind of sounds like an Arrested Development plot line.
it's like the plotline to a sitcom show.
Yeah, exactly. Me at the yogurt store got involved with the white couple kind of thing.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. There's just so many ridiculous elements. But I was working at a bubble tea shop where, oh my God,
Yeah, sorry, I'm
are
actually
you
balancing
okay?
my. Yeah, it's all good. I'm balancing my phone, so I apologize.
No, you're totally fine. If you have a cup, my phone is in a cup, and that's working really great
Good plan. It's all
for
good now.
next time. Um, so they were telling me that my job was like the hours weren't good because I was working from noon to like 2 a.m. and they're like, you can't in this in this pyramid scheme, you can't meet people like that because everyone's asleep. And so I got another job and they're like, you should get a coffee job. And so I did get a coffee job. And then I
Hmm.
met someone who is married to a person who managed a really awesome specialty coffee shop in Seattle. And they introduced me to the whole concept of like professionalism in coffee. And then I was like,
Hmm.
that pyramid scheme, I'm going to do coffee now. And so that's how I got into coffee. It's just like
Okay.
a whole ordeal. I feel like it's like an
But
episode
is
to a
that how you got into
sitcom.
specialty coffee?
Yeah,
Oh,
so like
sorry.
I worked at a really, no, you're totally fine. I worked at a really, really horrible like French pastry shop that didn't treat their coffee workers well. And so me and my coworker, we tried to revamp like the system or the coffee like program, and we tried to bring in really awesome like um coffee programs. Like we wanted Elm, which is a local roaster, and we talked to folks at Herkimer, which is also a local roaster, and we talked to like another company, and they didn't want to switch. So I left and worked at I worked at another coffee shop that wasn't really specialty, and then I worked at the coffee shop that I left before uh, during coffee at large. So that's where like most of my specialty coffee experience comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what made you feel about like kind of starting to draw about coffee? Like, what
Drawing,
was it?
like
Yeah,
illustrating.
what made you like start like crossing illustration with specialty coffee?
Um do you know who Liz Chai is?
I do know who Liz Chai
Our
is. Yes, I
sweet,
do.
sweet baby angel. Well, she is like a huge inspiration to me, and she's an incredible graphic designer. And I was talking to her one time, and she talked about how like she was able to create space for herself in the industry. Yeah, Liz is great. Also, hi Emily. She also runs Coffee at Large with us.
Nice. I actually
Um,
I know Liz well because I actually myself and Liz photographed the preliminary World Barista Championships in Amsterdam a couple of years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, that was wild. Was it really hot? No, that was, I think, no, that was the last year's. I remember there was a year that my coworker competed in Worlds and it was really hot and they were really sweaty.
It's probably like
But
every year.
every year.
That's every year.
Yeah. Um,
I
yeah,
apologize, by
so
the way, I apologize to I think it was one of the commenters who was scared. My phone fell down again. Sorry. It's like kind of balancing at the moment. Coffee addicts. My phone is balancing a little
where
bit
are they
on
based? Tell us more about you.
me.
Oh, I was talking to the commenter, like,
Yeah, coffee addict. They
wh
can tell us a little
where are
bit
they
where they are.
based?
Yeah, I
Just
apologize for my phone
comments.
because it's like it's acting the maggot at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're doing great. Phones are like that, especially
Yeah,
like if you have the newer version and like yeah, it's a mess.
it's just because it's balancing a little bit and I'm still getting used to it, so it's fine.
Hmm. You're doing great.
So how are you? I think everyone at the moment, because a lot of people are at the moment because of quarantine. Obviously,
Yeah.
a lot of our friends are out of work at the moment.
Yeah.
The people who are like our friends who've been working in cafes, the people who've been working even in roasteries, they're kind of more out of work at the moment. So, how are you finding it yourself at the moment with current work lockdown and quarantine?
For me personally, I'm financially okay, thankfully. I'm trying to get unemployment benefits, but that's not working. So I'm not getting money from the government, which sucks. And it's really frustrating because I know a lot of people who are struggling in the same way. Um, Luckily, I mean, right now, most cafes and restaurants are closed. So, like, none of my friends are working either. I do have like some commissions, and my commissions are open, thankfully, but it's not that much. It's like I have a flat rate and I do a few projects, and it's not enough to cover like a month's worth of rent, sadly. But that's
Mm,
okay. But like because I have money saved, I'm fine. But yeah, I try not to think about like what I'm struggling with and what I will struggle with in the future. But I try to think like presently, like today I have a few projects, so I will focus on that and I have control of that. So that's where I'm at right now.
nice.
Yeah.
And like for you, you're like, are you seeing a difference with the quarantine at the moment, like among your friends?
Um, like, what do you mean a difference
As
in
in, like,
behavior?
are you seeing like a big difference, like within your coffee community, how they're dealing with it at the moment?
Yeah, I think a lot, it's really hard to watch, but a lot of people are struggling. A lot of business owners are struggling, which is really unfortunate because it's not fair. Um, the margins in coffee are already so minimal, and to like throw in a pandemic and not get a lot of support from the government sucks a lot. I think there is a small business loan that people can take, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the general consensus is people are really struggling and trying to find ways to like supplement income.
And are you at the moment still working as a barista, or are you just
No, our cafe is closed, so I don't have work at all, which is kind of great, but also unfortunate.
yeah? And like, sorry, I completely forget which state you're in. I don't know if you
Oh, I'm
mentioned
in
it.
Seattle. Yeah,
You're in
yeah. It's
Seattle.
okay. Well, that's not a state. Sorry, I'm in Washington,
You're in
the city of
Washington.
Seattle. Yeah.
And have you been able to like you said you're not working at the moment, but are you able to like live on commissions at the moment?
No, but I have a lot of savings, so I'm like pretty okay, luckily. Like I'll be okay. If I don't work, I'll be okay for the next like 2 to 3 months.
Okay,
So we'll
good.
hold out until then.
Yeah, it's a very strange time, and I think at the moment it's very important for uh it's such a strange time. It's a very good important time for like artists and
Yeah,
writers to be expressing how they're feeling right now.
yeah. I think it's
Because
interesting to see like uh how the states view um different types of jobs and like careers per se. Like maybe that's just a result of capitalism, but like from my understanding, folks tend to look down on grocery store workers, but they're the ones who are essential right now. And like no one realizes how valuable like culture and art is until like
hmm
it's gone, you know? So yeah, it's
yeah.
interesting to see that.
Yeah, it's a little bit different in Germany at the moment because actually we have been since the virus has hit Germany, we've actually been giving grants to artists.
Yeah, everywhere except for the states value artists.
I wouldn't say everywhere, but particularly Germany has been like really granting artists like a lot of money.
That's so great. That's like really
Yeah,
great to hear.
it's like a lot of my friends are artists and they've been doing, thankfully, they're not feeling like it's a bailout, but they feel protected, is what
Ugh,
they feel.
but like grants, that's so great. I mean, like anything you can get from your government, you know? It's great.
Yeah, like, yeah, of course, but once you get the grant, you have to like then claim it on tax and
Oh,
blah,
that's
blah, blah, blah,
true.
blah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that is true.
yeah, but it's grand. And like for
Yeah.
you, like for Seattle, how do you feel like Seattle is doing at the moment? Like, are you in Seattle native?
No, I grew up in Northern California and then I moved here to go to school. But then I didn't go to school because I was paying 50K for a year, and that's like too much money. And I
Yeah.
wanted to work at like a nonprofit, or I wanted to work at yeah, I wanted to work at a science center because I was really passionate about like education at the time and teaching like young people. Um, and then I was like, that's not going to supplement like 50K a year.
Mm.
So I decided to leave.
Oh,
What is Rachel
for
saying?
Rachel saying, how do you artist supply get verified for grants in Germany? Uh, it's not applying for grants. It depends on the country you're coming from, how you apply for grants. But we have a thing called the KSK in Germany, which treats every freelancer as an employee almost, and figures out their pension for them is what we do.
Ooh.
So it's very easy for people to become artists in Germany, but the issue is that you have to be making enough money. And even for me, and like for many of my friends, we work as writers, freelance journalists, and
Mm-hmm.
freelance artists. And for us, we have to, I guess, in a way, produce enough work to produce pensions in a way. I would recommend Rachel for you to look into how the KSK works in Germany. It's very interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is interesting.
yeah. And do you feel like you said you were getting some commissions at the moment? Are they mainly like uh, coffee based or not?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, most of them are coffee based. My main projects are like a mix. My main project has been from one client, and although they serve coffee, they're trying to move towards other things in their company. So they're not like coffee people at all. I had a conversation about like one of their clients because there's not a lot of good press around one of the roasters that they served, and I addressed that because I'm like passionate about like people being treated well,
Hmm.
and they had like no idea. So they have no understanding of specialty coffee. So it's interesting, yeah, to see
Okay.
to see that. But they are my main clients right now. So it's fun, it's interesting. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And by the way, Rachel, I can't say if the public supports it because I'm not the public. But let's just say a couple of billion euros went into supporting artists in Germany.
Couple billion euros. Wow. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eat the rich. I think about that a
Uh,
lot.
yeah. Yeah. Like how like this is a question I want to ask everyone who comes onto our lives. Like, how are you like onto the Instagram lives? How are you finding quarantine at the moment?
Um, I'm pretty I'm pretty okay. Like I'm not outstanding and I'm not doing like wonderful, but I'm not doing horribly either. Like
Hmm.
I just take every day as is. What I'm really enjoying is not working in a cafe right now. I don't think baristas realized how like emotionally and physically taxing barista jobs are. So like they're just so taxing on the body. And I worked with a lot of people who competed also. And
Hmm.
so there was like a lot to navigate in that sense because our team is only 5 people. Two of them are part time. So there's like three full time employees, or yeah, I think three. And if two of them are competing, then it's like one person is there while
Oh
like two are,
wow.
yeah. So managing that was a lot of like capacity. And now that I'm away from that, I'm very happy. Like I don't have to manage that anymore.
So did you end up learning a lot about competition
Yeah, I
because
learned
you're in the
so much
shop?
about yeah. I learned so much about competition. I started learning about like what each like thing was. Like I kind of vaguely knew, like I know there's barista, roasters, cup tasters, but now I know like how the systems work. Like I understand like what, because I also got to watch the practice
Yeah.
routines. I know what like competitors need. I know like what they should focus on. I know what the prep work looks like. I know how expensive it is. So I just learned so much about it.
I'm sure you tasted a lot of terrible signature drinks.
Luckily, no.
Yeah, look.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This, well, it's interesting because the folks who created the Sig Bev, like, one of them has competed for a really long time, like 10 years. They've been in competition for a very long time. So they were able to like mentor the other person who was new to competition. So they
Hmm.
were able to get like basic flavor palettes down or flavor combinations down, which is great.
Nice. And did you like you being a coworker of someone that was competing, did you feel like you learned something from like
Yeah,
being involved in that person like competing?
yeah, I learned a lot about the competition community in particular.
Hmm.
So that the
Good
competition
or
community,
bad?
both. I learned about the drama and the not drama. And like, yeah, it's like uh you know how you know how when there's like drama like around you and you stand too close to it and you get sucked in? It's kind of like that. It's like I knew how
Mm,
far away to stand. I'm like, okay, I'll just stand 6 feet away and not get involved. So yeah,
yeah, exactly. I myself have competed before.
nice.
Um,
Sounds very emotionally taxing. Also, the thing about competition is that like it's so expensive. Like there's so many
yes.
costs, and that's so unfair.
Yeah, you could definitely say that it is definitely quite unfair. Because part of what some of the points you get is for the barista. Uh, it's not presentation, but overall, like look or something. I can't remember, the overall feeling or something is what you get. And yes, that can be expensive because it's like how
Yeah.
clean cut your routine and also your look is,
Yeah.
which can be very expensive. So
Yeah.
these judges are coming in like looking at you being like, well, I know it's expensive and I know what's
Yeah.
good. So of
Yeah.
course I'm
Yeah,
going to
for
judge
sure.
you when you have. That's for sure. But I
Also,
think for yeah, no, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say judges aren't paid either, and they're also like I think they
No,
have
none of
one.
them are.
Yeah, no one's paid, which is unfortunate. Also, if anyone has tea, spill it. I'd love to
Yeah, if
read.
you would like to spill the tea, like we're talking
Please
about
spill the tea.
competition.
Um, the like the thing is that people are like volunteering their time, which is great, and like so awesome. But also they're only given like 1 day of like calibration, like of training. And I know people are like doing their best, like when they're judging, right? But the thing about drinking espresso is that most people don't drink straight up espresso every single day. So like to expect your palate to calibrate within like 1 day of training is like really bizarre to me. And also baristas spend so many months preparing like their espresso. Like what are is it the same expectation for judges to like prepare their palate to like
Hmm.
try different coffees? But I would
Could I
only
ask you a
expect that if they
question?
were paid. Yeah, what's up?
Would you ever do competition?
No, never.
Why not?
I have so much like stage anxiety. It's awful. Also, I'm so bad at competing. It's like the most bizarre thing. Like
How many, okay, how many
I did
competitions have you done that you know
I
this?
used to do a lot of like sports, and so anytime I would do like games, I would like perform so poorly. But like
Okay.
casually, I'm great. So like I used to do figure skating, and then I used to do martial arts and like badminton. And yeah, badminton is like very like a very specific thing to do. But during
Okay.
like yeah.
I am gonna ask you a question now, which is something that you were actually on this chat the other day. Myself and Brody were talking about. I think you were on the me and Brody's chat. We were
Uh-huh.
talking about
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
how the specialty coffee industry is going to change in the next 2 or 3 years.
Ooh, yeah.
And our conversation led to uh sorry.
Jen, I
Our
have a
com
badminton racket. We could play like virtual badminton. Like put the phone against the wall and like hit the birdie against the wall back and forth.
like our conversation was that like in the next 2 3 years, like a lot of what specialty coffee is going to go into is digital.
Yeah. Oh,
So for
interesting.
you, how do you think that like maybe what you're doing now is you're like you would be seen as like a subsection of specialty coffee. You're like a specialty coffee artist. How would
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see your career changing in the next few years?
Ooh, that's exciting. I would love to see it change in the next few years, first of all. I would love to see myself grow and do like more work. Um, but I think like graphics are really important, like graphics that are like appealing and like are beautiful or aesthetically pleasing. I think that's really important. So hopefully,
Hmm.
like getting commissioned to do more like digital graphics, whether it be for social media or for like websites or for like projects that people do. I think that's what I that's how I would see it. Like I know
Hmm.
that for Coffee at Large, every time we launch a project, we need like a digital like thing or a digital visual to represent the project. So I'm pretty sure like if specialty coffee moves towards like more digital projects, they would need like more stuff visually.
Yeah, nice. So we actually have a question.
Question.
Yeah. So where do you get your inspiration from?
Jen, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this, but Pinterest.
What kind of
Just kidding.
Pinterest though?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of not. Pinterest has a lot of like really good like Japanese like digital illustrations, like digital illustrations and digital or like Japanese and like aesthetics in particular are so like so yummy. I love it. Um, I have a friend. Here, I'm gonna pull up their Instagram right now. Their name is Sierra, and they like inspire me a lot. They don't live in Seattle, but they do a lot of like graphics for the coffee community and for different things. And
Hmm.
their their username is Hot Dog Junior, and I just love that like very raw like illustration look. So I'm heavily inspired by that. But yeah, anything that has like an interesting color story, I'm very like drawn towards. And cartoons. I watch a lot of animated shows and a lot of cartoons. So I draw so much inspiration from like different cartoons.
So what would you be your top three cartoons you would draw inspiration from?
Amazing. Okay, this is also very specific. Hopefully people know.
I
Um,
think people will know.
they're like kind of newer cartoons though. So like Steven Universe is like aesthetically,
Yes.
yeah, like hands down one of my favorite things like to watch and see and hear and listen to.
Yeah.
Um, I also draw a lot of inspiration from anime, so
Okay.
like 90s anime in particular, like Sailor Moon, um, like Cowboy Bebop, Akira, all those
Okay.
things. Yeah.
Nice.
That's like also
So
very specific.
so this is a question from someone who's commented. What are your favorite online illustrators?
Online
Instagram, historical
illustrators.
ones from DeviantArt, etc.
Oh my gosh, Deviant Art. I haven't heard that in so long.
Have you ever heard it out loud? Probably not.
No, that's like it's kind of like Tumblr. Like people don't talk about Deviant Art.
Yeah.
Okay, I just need to address like the amount of like 15-year-old artists on DeviantArt is wild. They're like so talented and so like creative. It's ridiculous. I'm like, how are you drawing like this? You are 15. That's so incredible. Off the top of my head, I don't have like any particular people that I like love, but someone I always like refer to for inspiration. They go by Mochi Panko, and they are like their name is Leah. They do graphic design and they do uh interior design, and a lot of you can see a lot of their artwork is inspired by that. So
Hmm.
like yeah, I love their work. It's very beautiful.
And if you could like, if you're talking about their work, what's like three things that would come to mind about their work that you love?
I love their color palette. I love their use of like line work and the way they ink their work. They use a lot of like um different pressures. Like you can visually see that, and that creates like
Mm,
depth and interest. And I love the way that they incorporate interior design with like illustration. Like it's so beautiful and so creative and makes so much sense as like a piece,
yeah.
like a composition.
Okay, nice. And like for you, when you're doing your pieces, are you thinking, when you're creating a piece, are you thinking about like for instance, the one we reblogged from you, which was
Hmm.
very,
Thank you for doing that. I was like,
oh no, it's
whoa.
gorgeous. It like to us, like to me, like when I saw it, it felt very moody. Not like, but
Yeah.
I don't mean it like an emo, My Chemical Romance way. I mean like as in like it felt like sort of uh when you see like a perfect scene in a cafe kind of scene. Like it's very
Mm-hmm.
casual, very normal, and very
Yeah,
relaxed.
yeah.
And like what gave you the inspiration to draw that
So that
scene?
in particular is inspired by the artist I just talked about. They go by Mochi Panko,
Hmm.
and they do a lot of like perspective drawings of like spaces. And uh I do this thing where because I'm like learning so much about digital illustration, I like try to learn a style. And so that style is so time consuming and it takes so long because there's so many little pieces and you have to color each one and then think about the
Hmm.
color theory of it. And I usually do like just like very simple, like kind of vector like illustrations. So I wanted to learn this person's style. And so that was like my first attempt at it. And after doing that, I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to do that again. It took so long. But yeah, it
And
was a lot of fun.
was the cat someone you knew?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's Rachel's cat. Yeah, Rachel's the co-founder of Coffee at Large, just for folks who don't know. Um, and I, sorry, I'm doing this thing where I like draw people's pets, and I drew Rachel's cat sitting in a V60, and I like
Hmm.
kind of liked it, and then I was like, what if I did a whole thing, like a whole countertop, and
Of
put your
course.
cat on it? And so I did that. It's great.
Of course. Perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. People love cats, especially grumpy cats, grumpy fat cats. I love.
Who didn't?
Yeah.
And like I've asked you plenty of questions. Do you have any questions for me?
What do you like doing on your free time?
Uh, at the moment, like, going for lots of cycles. This is why, like, I'm a
Ooh, that's great.
honestly, this is why, like, I kept dropping the phone when I came back because I just came back from a super long cycle.
Uh-huh.
So
And
I
you're like,
like,
my
yeah,
body.
like, so honestly, I very quickly ate something and then picked up my phone. And that's why I eventually kept dropping it because,
Because your hands are like, ah.
yeah, my hands are like, oh.
Are there a lot of hills in Berlin?
Oh my God, is it?
It's totally,
Sorry,
it's totally fine. I think that was
there
like perfect.
there are no hills. Berlin. So
So it's like flat.
it's completely flat. It's like the Netherlands.
Wow. So it's easy to cycle. Not
It's
easy,
very
but
easy
like,
to cycle. No, no, it's easy to cycle.
okay. Because in Seattle, there are so many hills that like I really don't. I have a bike and I really don't want to bike because it's like all hills and I don't have that
No,
capacity.
Berlin is like the Netherlands. Berlin is exactly like Amsterdam. It's flat as a pancake. You can go cycling wherever you want.
That's so great.
Yeah.
I
The
love
only problem is
that.
that you might cycle out so far that you can't remember where you are and you might not remember how to get back.
Ooh, but I'm assuming if you're cycling long distances, you'll eventually make it back. That's part of the journey.
It's not a ball. You'll end up somewhere else. But yeah, sure.
Yeah. Can you like Google Maps your way back?
Oh yeah, of course. Modern.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. As long
Yeah.
as you have enough water and like
And like
your
you'll find
sweat
a
towel,
donkey somewhere, you're fine.
you're
Yeah, don't
fine.
worry.
That's so funny. Yeah, my apartment is like on the top of like a steep, steep hill. And I love going down the hill, but like going up it, I literally like I'm like biking and I have like one tear like stream down my face. Like I hate this. Why do I do this?
So I had an interesting question the other day from we had Anthony Bagler.
Hmm.
I don't know if you know him.
Yes.
Yeah, and he asked a question which was, how does the European market, or how do you personally see see the US market working? And I would
Hmm.
like to ask you the same question of like, how do you see the rest of the world, especially coffee?
Yeah. I am I don't know if this answers the question, but I'm very envious of like how the Australian coffee market works. Like they have such a large culture around drinking coffee. I'm so envious of that. Um, Seattle kind of has like a culture around drinking coffee, but it's not the same. Like I know that from what I've heard, people value time spent drinking coffee, whereas I feel like in Seattle in particular, it's very much so like I want my cheap black dark roast coffee. I want to chug it and I want to go to work at Amazon or like at this like tech industry. And the only time people come into cafes is to use the Wi-Fi to work, which is fine
Okay,
because I do the same thing. But like,
it's the
there's not a lot
Starbucks
of
life.
yeah, there's not a lot of socializing around like coffee. Well, there kind of is. Like, there's some socializing, but not much. And there's only socializing if your cafe is like a brunch spot because Seattleites and most people, I guess, I don't know. I don't want to speak for everyone. A lot of people love brunch in Seattle. So yeah. Yeah,
And
there's like
like,
I'm very envious of that.
have you like how would view like you experience like the US or like more
Hmm.
like the Seattle
Yeah.
specialty coffee market. How would you view how would you interpret like European coffee or even like New York coffee or
From what I've like heard and know, I feel like there's a high density of people in New York, and from my understanding, you either want to like sit down at the bar and like drink your coffee, or you gotta go and like drink your coffee that way. But there's since there's such a high density of people, if you have like a small shop, I feel like it's it may be possible. I don't know. My friend lives in New York, and so he always talks about like opening a shop, and he's like, it'll be fine. There's a lot of people there, but I don't know.
would you say like coffee in Seattle is a bit more or was a bit more casual?
Um, I don't know. I think that Seattle's specialty coffee scene is like interesting and requires a lot of growth. Um, there's a lot of like history tied to Seattle's specialty coffee scene because of Victrola and Vivace. Um, but also there's not a lot of like desire to like change within like the customer base, which is fine. Like I understand that. Also there's so many coffee shops in Seattle that it's like everyone's doing like a different and unique thing, and it's not very much so like a collective like community.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense completely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard because there's so many coffee shops like there's like 5 coffee shops a block, and what's unfortunate is that like maybe people are invested into like the community that they in, or maybe they're not, so it like very much so depends. Yeah.
Mm.
And to like
Actually,
bring that into one, it's
yeah,
hard.
there was a question that was asked last night by a friend of mine on Twitter, and it was like, what? How would you explain the how would you explain the coffee relationship? Or like
Like
relationship coffee, it was like the quotations they used.
do you mean
Uh,
like a relationship between like customer and coffee, or like between like what's the
I,
relationship?
I mean, like they had to explain a little bit because when they said relationship coffee, I
Yeah.
would assume that would mean like connection through coffee. But what they actually
Ooh.
meant was, how do you explain? Oh, by the way, 10-minute warning. Thank
Okay,
you,
10
Jen.
minutes, y'all. Get your
Get your questions
questions
in,
in.
please.
What color
Um,
shirt am I wearing? Just kidding.
and they, what they explained was that it was when someone is trying to sell coffee and they're
Mm-hmm.
talking about a producer,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they call that relationship coffee, which I've never
I see,
heard
I see.
that phrasing before.
Yeah, I don't work with a lot of producers, so maybe that's like more common lingo between like producers and like green buyers and stuff. Um, I have like a really strong opinion, and it might not be like everyone's opinion. I feel like producers are one of the most vulnerable parts of the supply chain, but also I think a lot of baristas in particular, or a lot of like people who live in like more privileged parts of like the states in particular,
Hmm.
love to like romanticize like producers, and like they love to romanticize like origin, which is like which is such a bad mindset. Like to like romanticize a specific culture is kind of offensive and not okay. Um,
But I can I say just say like this is not something we had in Europe, but like
yeah.
uh, I can't remember what the company was in the States that had the Colombian farmer. Oops, sorry,
Oh,
Colombian.
oh, nice
Sorry,
save. Yes.
uh, Colombian farmer with the donkey.
What? That's so cute. I kind of love that.
What was it? It was the Colombian farmer with the donkey.
What about like
Who was that? Like, if someone in the who's watching knows that, it was the Colombian
yes.
farmer with the donkey, and it was a joke in Bruce Almighty.
I have no idea.
Okay,
I don't understand this cultural reference. I'm gonna look it up right after this
it's making
live.
me feel really old.
No,
Um,
you're fine.
yeah, it was this joke where like in the film, like this guy, he was like, "Oh, I wish I had a great cup of coffee," and this
Yeah.
like he opens a window and it's the guy from some Colombian mountain with a donkey serving him like perfectly tasty coffee. Yeah,
Uh,
Juan Faled. Yes, it's
Valdez?
Juan
That's
Faldes.
amazing.
Yeah,
I
this
love
person knows
that.
it. Yeah.
Thank you. Ship Dip. That's a good username. That's a good like drag queen name.
Yes, it is.
Hi, I'm Ship Dip.
Yeah,
Dip
it's
the
nice.
ship.
So before we wrap up, do you have anything you would like to ask or talk about?
Um, I think most of my questions have been answered, and I can talk for days, so
That's
doesn't
great.
matter.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
No, I think like at the moment, like I don't know, like so today in Germany we have May Day, which is
Mm-hmm.
our Workers' Day, which is like sort of the day it's the day we traditionally protest.
Yeah.
So we like I'm originally from Ireland, but I've been living in Germany for a few years. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the day we usually go out and protest on the streets and
Mm-hmm.
um
I
we
love that.
protest, we party on the streets.
Yeah.
It's a
Protest
celebration
party,
of workers' rights, pretty
which
much.
is awesome. I wish we had
Yeah.
that.
But I feel like you guys are going there.
Yeah, I feel like, not 2020, but 2021, we'll plan one.
Hmm.
Well, Coffee at Large will now. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
for sure.
We'll do a little party. Workers' rights. Yeah, that's awesome. I genuinely value that so much and love that idea so much. Uh, do you like living in Germany?
Mm.
Tea.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
It took very long time to find my footing, but my footing has been very well found now.
Yay. That's so
Yeah.
great.
I always say when people move to Germany, people feel like when they move to Germany, it's going to be like a holiday, like their
Yeah.
holiday was before, and then
Yeah,
they're going to
yeah.
find it super easy and super perfect. But the thing is with Germany is exactly what you expect it to be. It's rules, regulations, and getting everything in order.
Interesting.
And to be honest, once you have rules, regulations, and everything in order, non-ironically, everything falls into line and everything is good.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's good. It protects you.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad that you
Yeah.
feel protected though, you know?
Oh, very much so. And like, it's this thing of like, I feel, I went to go pick up coffee today from my friend's cafe, which is doing takeaway coffee. Because now
Yay.
we've recently changed our lockdown laws where you can go and get coffee.
That's so nice.
It's nice, but like we have a rule that you have to have a mask when going in.
That's good though. Like you're
Yes.
protecting people. Yeah.
And people, the thing is, the greatest thing is that people are paying attention and they're doing exactly what's the government has issued.
That's good.
Um,
I feel like in the States there are protests to open the economy. Like it's so there we have a lot of
I,
protests where people are like gathering so that like governments will open the economy and I'm like, "Woo!
yeah.
It's a
Well,
pandemic right now."
I
Yeah.
think the worrisome thing for you guys, and it's kind of hard to like paint you all as you're such a gigantic country. It's so hard
Oh
to paint
yeah,
you all as
it's
one.
it's ridiculous and absurd.
But the thing is, it's like it's not like you're going to go back to what it was.
Not at all. Yeah.
If you can
I hope
go,
not. That'd be dangerous.
like, because we were even talking about when I went to go coffee today, we were talking about the new normal.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's what I mean. Like, what is the new normal? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we're just going to be
What is the
masks.
new normal? Yeah, I am excited to integrate masks into our culture because it's already something very common in Asia as a
Yeah,
style choice and as a protective choice, and now we're going to do it in the States, and I'm very excited about that.
I'm honestly surprised that no one has started a lecture called the new coffee normal.
New coffee normal. I'll ask.
The
We
new
can post it
specialty
on Twitter.
coffee normal.
We can start a thread on Twitter.
I'm sure we can.
Disposable like masks.
What all disposable?
Anarchist barista.
Yeah.
Okay,
What
I'm
do you mean?
confused
That's a
because you can
barista in
buy.
London.
There's lots of baristas in London.
No, no, I mean that guy, Anakarista
Oh,
barista.
they're
He's in
based in London.
London. Mm.
Oh, that's so awesome. Hello to London.
What do you
That's
mean
so
all
much fun.
disposable?
We're so confused. We need to know. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I've had so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this
Um,
very rare May Day.
yes, so May, so day. I also wanted to compliment your apartment before we sign off.
Oh
From
yeah.
from what I've seen, like you dropping the phone and stuff, it's very cute. I love the plant and the orange. Ah, the shape is good. That's
Yeah.
so good.
This
That's
is
a good
our
sofa. Ooh, that's good. This is
yeah,
good.
it's a nice apartment. Very nice apartment.
I love that.
Yeah. And all hail Kurt Cobain.
Oh, disposable cups and stuff. So like takeaway. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that is what the new normal is. No porcelain
Yeah,
is yeah, it like we were so into
like having
being
things for here.
well no, being reusable.
Oh, for sure. You're
And
right.
now we're
You're
back
right.
into the crazy. But anyway, I would
Yeah.
love to thank you. Thank you so much for joining me, Felix.
Yeah, it's so much fun. All
Yeah,
right. Have a good rest of your evening.
I will. Have a great
Okay.
May Day. I don't know what.
Thanks.
Yeah. All
It's gonna
right.
be so lit. Okay, bye.
Okay, see you later. Thank you.